at circadalia.com.
Dust off your platform shoes and polyester leisure suits, as it's time to hit the dance floor at the Australian Bee Gees Show. Paying tribute to one of the most beloved bands of our time, you'll enjoy all the hits like Staying Alive, Jive Talking, How Deep Is Your Love, and many others.
Vegas has Italian Ice. Philly Freeze Me Italian Ice, also known as water ice, is 100% authentic Italian ice made with authentic recipes and fresh ingredients. Philly Freeze Me is also vegan. Try a single flavor or mix it up and taste test multiple flavors like watermelon and cotton candy or strawberry lemonade and mango. It can be adult friendly with alcohol infused flavors. 2 area locations open until 8 p.m. every day. Follow Philly Freeze Me on social media at Philly Freeze Me or online at phillyfreezeme.com.
The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the program's participants and do not necessarily reflect those of station staff, management, and advertisers.
Ladies and gentlemen, now is the time for the host with no filter and the millennial who keeps him in check. Get ready for the stories that matter to you. It's Pushing the Limits with Brian Shapiro and Jamie D.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. It is Pushing the Limits, and it is Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining us. May 2nd. Can't believe Cinco de Mayo weekend is upon us. We got a lot to get to today, of course, alongside my co-host, Mr. Jamie D. He doesn't want to be called Mr. D. I don't know why.
Call me that.
I don't know why. That's a compliment.
No, it's not. What's up, everybody? Welcome in. It's a pleasure to have you guys here at Pushing the Limits. It's awesome. It's a great Tuesday. It's Taco Tuesday.
I don't eat tacos, man.
You don't like? So wait,
No.
I realize I've been saying that for like the past few weeks, and you keep saying that.
That's why
you
you're
don't
always,
like tacos at all.
That's why you're always in the restroom. I just figured it
Wait,
out.
you don't like tacos at all?
You're always in the restroom because
You are too. But wait, you don't like
No,
tacos
I'm
at all?
not.
You don't like tacos for real?
I do eat tacos, but it gives you bathroom issues.
Wait, every time I say Taco Tuesday, you're like, no tacos.
No, I'm not. I'm not a big taco person. Taco Bell once in a while.
Pause. What's your favorite cuisine then?
What's my favorite cuisine? Fruit roll-ups. I don't know.
Cuisine.
Peanut butter and jelly.
No, like Italian food, Mexican food.
I like a good steakhouse. I like Italian. I just don't like tacos. Anyway, welcome to the show, everybody.
Okay.
We got a lot to get to today. Coming up at the bottom of the hour, I don't know. Should I say controversial figure?
Yes.
I don't know.
Shock value figure.
Well, this is a woman, a black female, who's running for...
You have to say black woman. Black female is so rude.
No, I don't think that's rude at all. She's a black female. Her name is Lavern Spicer. There's not a lot of black females that are Republicans in office or running for office. I actually think that's a good thing. Her name is Lavern Spicer. Very opinionated, very controversial, huge Donald Trump supporter. And I'm really looking forward to talking to her. She's going to be joining us at the bottom of the hour. Lavern Spicer. By the way,
I'm excited for that.
No relation to Sean Spicer, the former White House communications director. But Lavern Spicer will be joining us coming up at the bottom of the hour. Then in hour number 2, very funny comic. He's appeared on some of my favorite shows like Curb Your Enthusiasm and Funny People, which was awesome. Very, 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 very funny guy. Mr. Cohen's going to be joining us in hour number 2. And he's also, Mark Cohen, not to be confused with Michael Cohen, Donald Trump's former attorney, by the way. But Mark Cohen's going to be joining us in the studio. I got to start off with something serious. And usually I don't do that. But the breaking news that has come out, it's national news, it's big local news, it's big national news. Former Las Vegas Raiders star football player, because he was, Henry Ruggs. Let me give a little background on why because it seems like there's a plea deal that's going to be entered in. But if you don't remember this story, let me give you a little bit of background really quick for our listeners. Henry Ruggs was going 156 miles an hour on Rainbow Boulevard out here drunk in the middle of the night. Killed an innocent young lady, the name of Tina Tintor, who worked at a local Walmart. He killed her and her dog. Innocent person and her dog. Let me repeat that again. In a 35-mile-an-hour zone, Henry Ruggs was going 156 miles an hour. 156 miles an hour. Do people even realize how fast that is? And he was drunk.
That's ridiculously fast.
It's insane. And this poor woman, and I'm sorry to be graphic, but in this instance, I have to. She burned alive. Yep. There are videos of her screaming in pain as she was trapped in the car, and her last moments were being burned alive. Yep. So why am I bringing this up today? Well, I'll tell you why. Because I am pissed off, and I am angry but not surprised. Because Ruggs' defense attorneys, we know, waived the right to a preliminary hearing, and now they have copped a plea deal. And in this plea deal, Ruggs will plead guilty. And guess how much jail time he could be facing?
How much?
3 to 10 years. What does that mean in real time? He's going to spend 3 years behind bars. He's going to be 18 months behind bars.
Right, get out on good behavior.
For killing an innocent woman. We're not talking about going through a stop sign and killing somebody. We're not even talking about going 20 miles over the speed limit and killing somebody. We're talking about killing somebody drunk and killing somebody going over 100 miles an hour over the speed limit. And he's only going to get several years in prison. And I had a bunch of people text me this morning because I've covered this story. And I've covered it since the day it happened. And people have asked me, what do you think he deserves? Let me tell you something. If he got 10 years mandatory, I would have said that's not enough. Our laws in this country are a joke. I call it the injustice system. But if you have money, unless I agree, our justice system is not set up well for those that are poor, for minorities. We are not all treated equally, especially in our justice system. And you know, I would never say otherwise. But if you have money, and even if you're black, Bill Cosby is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. O.J. Simpson is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Forget about color of skin for a moment. If you're wealthy and you're a celebrity and you're powerful and you have money and you have the opportunity to hire some of the most skilled, I guess I would use that term, attorneys that are expensive, the best attorneys around, you get deals like this. That's why Henry Ruggs got that deal. Jamie, if it was you or I guarantee you.
We would get life in prison.
We probably wouldn't get life, but I will tell you this.
I probably would. I'm a black man with no money.
If you don't have, I hear what you're saying. If you don't, we can all agree on this. It would have been a harsher punishment.
Yeah.
I don't know if you would have gotten life, but it would have been a harsher punishment.
They would have made an example out of me.
Perhaps. I think Henry Ruggs should have been made an example of, to be quite honest with you. And there are other cases around the country of people with money that hire good attorneys that kill people on the road drunk driving. And this wouldn't be the only case where you get a couple of years in prison. And it's horrible. And I'm just as angry at those cases as I am of this. But I'm not sure how you can find a more egregious situation than this. And listen, I understand that Richard Schunfeld and David Chesnoff, who I spoke to earlier today on the phone, texting him, are celebrity attorneys. They're skilled defense attorneys. I get that. But I want to read for you a statement that they made. And I understand they're attorneys that want to represent their client to the best of their ability. I do understand that. But they made a very brief statement, and they said this is the first step toward a fair resolution to this matter, and we look forward to closure for all the parties involved. The nerve of these attorneys to make a statement like that. First of all, you think this is a fair resolution? What if somebody drove 156 miles an hour drunk and killed your daughter, and then they got 3 years in jail, let's just say? Would you call that a fair resolution? Oh, nope. Brian, don't let your emotions get into it. This is the legalities of... No, it's not. Stop it with your stupid fair resolution. And we look forward to closure? You think all the parties are going to have closure? You never have closure.
Nope.
I just lost my sister 3 months ago, and to no fault of her own. I'm never going to have closure there.
Right.
This woman was murdered. This is murder. You go 156 miles... an hour on a 35-mile-an-hour zone drunk and you kill somebody? Henry Ruggs is a murderer as far as I'm concerned. Oh, but Brian, it was involuntary. No, it's not. I'm sick of these people that say involuntary. When you decide that you're drunk and you get into a vehicle, you are playing Russian roulette with society. Oh, but Brian, they didn't mean to do it. If you put one bullet in a gun and you spray it, oh, I didn't mean to kill somebody, but you could. When you get into a car drunk and you drive 156 miles an hour, chances are you're probably going to kill somebody. Is that involuntary? Is that what we do in our society right now? Is that what we're saying to people? That if you decide to get drunk and kill somebody going 156 miles an hour, we'll give you a second chance? No, not 30 years down the road, not 20 years down the road, maybe on good behavior, 3 years.
Let me ask you this. Do you not believe that they should get a second chance at life?
Well, first of all, Tina Tintor doesn't have a second chance of life. She's 6 feet underneath the ground.
Horrible.
So let me start by saying that. She does not have a second chance of life. Her father and mother will never be able to hug her again, her brothers and sisters. She has no second chance. So that's number one. Number two, I don't believe Henry Ruggs deserves a second chance of playing in the NFL. Give him 20 years in jail. Okay. Let him go out, a man my age, in his mid-40s, with no opportunity to ever play football again. That's what I think. Now, if you want to give him a second chance at...
I said at life. I didn't say at football.
Yeah. That's where I would start.
So do you believe he should have a second chance of life? I want to ask you, because you're getting very heated, and I understand why, and I agree. However, I want to understand, do you not give people in these situations grace? Again, what they did was egregious. It was a horrible situation. He should have never taken the action to get drunk and drive, and he has to face these consequences. I wholeheartedly believe that. But do you give these people grace when they make mistakes, when they do things that are out of body actions and end up with these horrible situations they're in?
Yeah, that's a fair question. I will say this. I don't think what he did is an out-of-body...
Well, when you're drunk, AF.
Yeah, but he chose to do that. Nobody forced him to drink and get into a car. That was his choice. So I'll start by saying that. If you're saying, an accident to me is you lock your keys in your car. It's no accident when you decide to get into a car drunk. So I'll start by saying that. Now, if you want to ask me, do I think everybody that kills somebody that's drunk should get life in prison without the possibility of parole? I would say no. But what I will say is we need to find some more middle ground here. If you kill somebody and you're drunk, in my opinion, a minimum mandatory sentence of 10 years. Minimum. What do I think Henry Ruggs should have gotten? He's 24 years old, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
He's 24.
Put him in jail until he's 44 years old. So he has no chance. He'll have a second chance at life. He can still have kids. He can still get married. But he will never be a professional athlete ever again. At least I would say to myself, okay, at least they took something very important away from him. Now, I don't know if Henry Ruggs will ever play professional football again. He very well might. He's still going to be in his 20s when he gets out of jail. That's where I have a huge problem.
And do you believe a team will actually pick him up after this
I don't know. That's a hard question for me to answer. I don't know. He's going to have to stay in shape. He's going to have to eat healthy.
Well, I mean, he's in jail. A lot of people get to stay in shape in jail.
True. He will have a chance. It will be very controversial. But he will have a chance. And my point is, he doesn't deserve that chance. Tina Tintor is dead. She doesn't have anything anymore. She's dead. And there are different levels of when you kill somebody. For example, I will give you an example. There are true accidents in life, right? Oh, my God, I didn't mean to do that. Like, listen, you went through a stop sign. You didn't see the stop sign. You weren't on your phone texting somebody. You just didn't see the stop sign and you killed somebody. To me, that's a true accident. It's terrible, and you have to live with that for the rest of your life. You gave somebody food. You cooked somebody food. You didn't know they had a food allergy. They died from. That's a true accident, right? You didn't do it on purpose. What Henry Ruggs did is not an accident. I hate it when people use that. When you decide to get into your car drunk, that's not an accident to me.
Okay.
You can make the claim in court, he didn't mean to do it. He didn't wake up and say, I want to kill an innocent person today. He didn't get into his car thinking, boy, I hope I kill somebody. But that doesn't mean it's an accident.
Right.
Your reckless behavior and your horrendous decision-making are the reason why Tina Tintor is dead. And that's why I'm so angry, Jamie, because he doesn't deserve a second chance at football. And I am fearful that because maybe, and I say maybe because I don't know if this is true or not, maybe if he gets out of jail, maybe because of his talents and abilities, an NFL team, just maybe, will say, hey, let's take a chance on him. Let's give him a 10-day contract. Let's give him a 1-year contract. And I don't want that to happen because that is such a shot in the face to this poor woman's family right now that are obviously will never get over this horrible situation. Listen, there's going to be a civil suit, just like in the O.J. case, right? There's going to be a civil suit. He's not going to have any money by the time he gets out of jail, I would imagine, right? But I don't know. I don't know what you guys think about this, but I look at a picture right now of Tina Tintor and her dog, who sadly their lives were taken with this horrible, horrible tragedy. Nick Saban has said he's a good kid. Derek Carr has said he needs people to love him. I don't want to hear those idiots. I don't want to hear those idiots like Nick Saban. Yes, I'm calling Nick Saban and Derek Carr. I understand they were friends of Henry Ruggs, but shut up. I don't want to hear what a great kid he was. If he was so great, he wouldn't have gotten into a car drunk going 156 miles per hour, because your life can be defined by one horrible mistake like that. It damn well should. And Henry Ruggs, in my opinion, will always be known as the man who murdered an innocent woman. Always in my mind. Now, I hope when he gets out of jail, he does something good for society. For example, going into classrooms, talking about the mistake that he made. So maybe he can save another life. I think that's the best thing he can do when he gets out of jail. We will see.
Now, with that being said, though, will you ever find it in your heart to forgive an individual like this?
No.
Even if they do go into the community and they give back and they try to do better with their lives.
That's just the way I am.
Okay.
If you make a decision and you kill somebody because of your horrible decision making, that's something that I will never say, hey, don't worry about it. You made a mistake. Let's move on. No, sorry. Never going to do that because somebody did that to my family. Somebody did that to my family and I lost my grandmother. It's part of the reason why I lost my sister several months ago. And my parents had traumatic brain injuries. And I will never, ever forgive that person that did that to my family. Never. Now, that person is since deceased, but I don't care. I will never forgive. Now, people are different than me. And some people are different, and I respect that. And some people say, listen, with a heavy heart, I'm going to forgive you. And they are entitled to do that. If the Tintor family wants to eventually forgive this guy, I leave that up to them. That's personal, and I would never interfere with that. I'm just telling you, me personally, I never will forgive somebody for doing something like that. When you decide to get into a car going 156 miles an hour drunk, and by the way, you look at the behavior of Ruggs in the moments after, while this woman is burning to death, and he seemed to be only concerned about himself. And then I heard from very good sources that were in the hospital that he was swearing at the nurses and the doctors in the hospital, and his behavior was repugnant and disgusting. So I don't want to hear Nick Saban, some football coach. He was a really good kid. What has Nick Saban said about Tina Tintor? What has Derek Carr said about the victim?
You know what? I do want to ask you because I'm curious. Do you believe that just because, and hear me out, I'm not saying this is my opinion, but do you believe that just because somebody made a mistake, yes, he took this upon himself to get drunk and get in the car and drive, and his action has killed somebody. She died a horrible death. But do you think that erases the fact that he was a good kid, he was an individual that helped out others, that he wasn't an individual who would try to do these things and he made a mistake?
Well, does
that erase all of that to you?
Here's the thing. Even if all that is true, and by the way, I don't know if it's true or not, even if he was a model citizen, doesn't mean anything to me.
Okay, so it does erase it. One action erases everything to you.
Well, sure. I mean, let me ask you a question. If somebody's a model citizen and they raise money for charity their whole life, they help the homeless, but they murder somebody, does that matter?
It depends on which way, how they murder somebody. Personally, I agree with you in this entire situation. He does need to suffer the consequences of his actions. However, if you ask me, if a model citizen who actually has a clean record, who didn't mean to do something, and their actions ended up killing somebody, and we see what that action was, depending on what it was, I may forgive them. I may not erase everything they did in the past, because, like you just said, there's one action that may define your entire life. As an individual who has been in situations like this before, where I've almost gotten into an accident because somebody almost hit me drunk driving and so on and so forth, it's scary. I get it. I've never been in Tina's situation because I'm alive, thank God. But I also understand that when people drink, even when they don't mean to drink, as much as they did or they thought they ate and situations happen, I try to give people grace, because you never know how that alcohol may have affected them, how that weed may have affected them, how that drug that they took that day have affected them. Yes, they shouldn't have never done it, but I mean, I don't try to erase everything that a person has done because of one situation.
Here's what
if that answers your question.
Yeah,
again, not talking about Henry. I was answering your question specifically.
Yeah, I understand. So here's what I try to do when I look at situations like this. I heard and I saw the video of Tina Tintor burning to death.
Yeah, it was very tragic.
I heard the screams that she was making from her car. And I choose to, when I think of this story, think about that and the suffering that she had to go through in the last moments of her life, and not maybe some story about Henry Ruggs working at a soup kitchen or raising money for charity. If he did that, great. But I don't care, because he killed an innocent woman. Now, I understand what you're saying. If you have somebody with a criminal record who has done horrible things in their life, then you're going to have you're probably not going to forgive as easily. Yeah. That's just the kind of person that I am, and like I said, this is a personal thing we are talking about now. If people want to forgive, listen, I've seen in the courtroom criminals that have raped people, that have killed people, and I've actually seen their parents get up there in the courtroom and say, "I forgive you." Right. Listen,
Yeah.
That is their
It's up to them
prerogative.
to forgive, not me.
That is their prerogative, and that's how they are. I tell you,
Right.
if somebody did that to a member of my family, I would want them to die a horrible death. That's
I
just-
agree. I mean, because you probably handle situations differently than other people, and also too, you also don't think about people's religion and what they're being told behind the scenes to make them forgive. A lot of times, people also don't forgive you for you; they forgive them for themselves because they want to move on.
But I do, though, Jamie, and here's why: because as I said earlier, it's a personal thing, just like religion. Religion is personal, and this is a personal thing. Like I said, if the Tina Tintor family wants to forgive Henry Ruggs, I give them all the power in the world to do that. If that's what they want to do, that is their choice, and that is anybody's choice. I'm just giving you my personal opinions are when you go 156 miles an hour, driving drunk, I don't care if you worked in a soup kitchen or what you've done in your past life. You murdered somebody. You killed somebody because of your stupidity and your selfishness and your horrendous actions that night.
Yep.
And I do not personally believe this, and this has nothing to do with forgiving.
Right.
That if you do that, 3 years in jail and then you're back into society.
Yeah.
It's one thing to say.
I feel like that's a very ludicrous sentence. If
Right.
if the judge does go with just 3 years, that's horrible. That's a slap in the face to the family.
Yes.
Because you should. It sucks because he is an African American man, but you should make an example out of him because you don't want these celebrities and those who have money and power to think that they can use that to get away from their actions and run away from the things that they did that were horrible to society. No.
But let's be honest here. The reason why Henry Ruggs is only probably going to spend 3 years in jail, there are multiple reasons. He has money. He has the best attorneys that money can buy. He is a celebrity. I personally believe that if Henry Ruggs was a guy working, a job making $10 an hour, he probably would have gotten at least 10 years in jail. I really do believe that. And in our injustice system, if you have money and you're a celebrity, you are treated differently, in my personal opinion, as a whole, than people out there who do not have money and who are not celebrities. Yes, I do think race plays a factor in a lot of cases.
It does.
I do believe that. But in this situation, if you have money, it doesn't matter what the color of your skin is. Bill Cosby, again, a perfect example of that. Yes, I believe O.J. Simpson is guilty of double murder. He was found innocent. Johnny Cochran, Robert Shapiro, Bailey, these were very skilled attorneys, and everybody knew who O.J. Simpson was, and that played a role. That's why we are not treated as equals in our justice system, whether it be the color of your skin, how much money you have, your celebrity status. I have seen it time and time again. I've seen it. I've covered it. I've covered big court cases. I covered the OJ case. Now, listen, the second OJ case was very different because I believe that was more retribution. What happened at Powell Station here, I believe that was more retribution. We believe you did this 20, 30 years ago, so now we're going to get you.
Right.
So in that aspect, I think OJ probably was treated unfairly in the court, which is wrong also, if we're going to be fair. But I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that he got 3 to 10 and he's probably only going to spend 3 years. I'm not surprised. And I've talked to a lot of attorneys that specialize in this sort of thing, and they tell me, he doesn't have any priors. He's got a lot of money. Probably going to be a plea deal. They're not going to go to trial. Listen, I wish this went to trial. But
why do you wish it went to trial?
So we got more evidence, and everything came out. And I think he would have gotten a harsher punishment. I'm also angry at the prosecutors.
More evidence like what? What else do you need? He was drunk. He was driving over the speed limit crazily.
Because Henry
and killed
Ruggs'
somebody.
attorneys made some ridiculous claims that the reason why the car caught fire was a car malfunction and nothing to do with Henry Ruggs. I mean, they made statements that were so egregious. They said it was the car malfunctioning.
But that's already out for the public to see, right?
I understand, but that's why I wanted all the information to come out.
What other information do you need? I'm trying to get to that point.
Because I wanted him to face the music and all the facts to come out because there was no defense for what he did. And I wanted him to get, because if you go to trial, there's no plea deal, you're going to get a harsher punishment. Now, I'm sure
there we go. That's what
I'm
you
sure
wanted.
the prosecutors would say, well, listen, we don't know if we would have been able to get, a guilty here, a guilty there. Let's just end it right now. And listen, prosecutors do this all the time. I disagree with it. I disagree, especially when someone has lost their life. I disagree. Go to trial. Go to trial. And, there are people that are saying, and they're disagreeing with me, or somebody saying that, I'm the joke here. Let me be very clear.
Wait, who's saying that you're a joke?
Well,
and how?
I'll explain. This is no joke. A 23-year-old innocent woman was burned alive and killed because of the actions of one person named Henry Ruggs, who decided to get into a car drunk while driving 156 miles an hour. That's not a joke. What is a joke is that in this society, Jamie, you can do something like that and get 3 years in jail. Forget about getting a second chance 20 years, 30 years down the road. He's going to get a second chance. And by the way, he hasn't been in jail. He's been out of jail with an ankle bracelet, able to spend time with his family.
Even the ankle bracelet came off a couple months ago.
Correct.
So he's just been able to do whatever the hell he wants.
Correct. I wonder if we drove 156 miles an hour, which we wouldn't, but if we did, and we were drunk and we killed somebody, if we wouldn't be spending time in jail. I wonder. So this isn't a joke. My heart goes out to the Tintor family, as I've said time and time again over the last several years. It's horrible. And I'm very frustrated, as you can tell. I'm angry. And I never want something like this to happen again. Unfortunately, I don't know what happened, but I was driving home. I live close to Decatur and the 95, and the entire 95 northbound lanes last night were closed for a fatal accident. Now, I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was a DUI crash. But unfortunately, people die in this country every day in car accidents, and there's too many DUIs out there. We live in a 24/7 town, and some people can't handle it. But we're going to continue to monitor this story. I texted Henry Rugg's attorney, Mr. Chestnoff, David Chestnoff, earlier today. He's always been good about getting back to me, and he gave me the written statement that they had, and hopefully we'll have him on the show a few weeks down the road. But this is a very, very sad situation. I do want to poke a little bit of fun, by the way, at Mike Lindell in a little bit here. But coming up next, as I mentioned earlier, woman who's running for office, and she's running for office, congressional candidate for Florida 22. And her name is Lavern Spicer. And she's going to be joining us next. And she has some very choice words for Joe Biden and Joe Biden's administration. So we're going to take a break, and she'll be joining us next. And I know it's going to be an entertaining interview, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So she'll be joining us next. All right. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back after this with Lavern Spicer. You are listening to Pushing the Limits right here on 107.1 FM, 1400 AM, KSHP.
Hey, everybody, are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premium Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super. Hero, that is. Because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
Hey everybody, it's Brian Shapiro from Pushing the Limits. I want to tell you guys about Sahara West Urgent Care and Wellness. They're conveniently located on the southwest corner of Sahara and Jones. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. At Sahara West Urgent Care, they'll take care of all your healthcare needs. They offer routine services such as physicals, STD testing, car accident treatment, and work injuries. You name it, they do it. They have on-site x-ray, EKG, ultrasound, and labs. They treat chronic conditions such as asthma, blood pressure, diabetes, and more. They also offer general wellness exams, treatments such as testosterone enhancement and cancer screening. They're located on Sahara, 6125 West Sahara Avenue. Their number is 702-248-0554. And the best part, they accept most major insurances and affordable cash pay prices, office visits starting at just $95. And I'm also a client, so please give them a call, 702-248-0554.
Buying or selling a home is a huge life event that requires guidance from an expert in the industry and community. My name is Blake Gwynn. You may recognize my name as my grandfather was the best governor the state of Nevada has ever had. Growing up in Las Vegas, I've come to know this community intricately. Now, I am raising a family here as well. So I understand all the issues impacting our home and quality of life. As the top realtor for the #1 real estate team at Keller Williams, you can have confidence in my experience, knowledge, and track record. When it comes to buying, selling, or investing in real estate, choose a name you can trust and someone who understands the community you call home. Call Blake Gwynn today and experience the difference of a trusted expert. 702-540-3311.
Do you want?
All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining us alongside Jamie D. I'm Brian Shapiro. You know, I interview so many different candidates across the country all the time, and I always like hearing different perspectives from different people and opinionated people. And the lady we have with us on the line right now, certainly she's opinionated, and I never have a problem with that because I'm opinionated as well. Her name is Lavern Spicer. She's running for Congressional Candidate for Florida 22. And she joins us right now. Lavern, thank you so much for being here. How are you?
What's up, Lavern? How are you?
Thank you, Brian. Thank you all for having me on.
Of course. I appreciate you coming on. You look much better in pink than I do. Let me just start by saying. All right. So let me ask you the basic question to start. Why did you decide to put your hat in the ring, so to speak, and run for Congress? Why did you decide to do this?
Well, one of the reasons, the main reason is, and I always talk about this anytime I invite it on anyone's show, is because many years ago I started a food pantry in my neighborhood because I saw the need was so great. You know, I saw so many homeless people staying in the streets. Many of them are seniors, many of them are veterans, and I saw people struggling to make the needs meet on a daily basis. So we started the food bank, and it's been in existence for like over 20 plus years now. And that was one of the reasons, because I said, hey, you know, I've been helping everybody else run for office. I might as well just go for it and do it for myself.
Lavern, I'm happy to hear that you have a food bank that you're also giving back to the community in Florida. However, can you clarify for those who are listening, what position are you actually running for? Because I'm looking at your website and it just says Spicer for Congress, but there's not much detail there.
Okay, I'm running for District 22 in Florida for Congress, for U.S. House. And I believe that we need strong fighters and that are going to stand up and fight for this country, and that are willing to make a change for this country, and, you know, that are really vocal about that, because there are a lot of people in Congress, but it's kind of strange how it's like you only hear a few names called on a daily basis. So it's like, you know, what's going on with the rest of them? Are they truly fighting for us? Are they standing up for this country, especially now, you know, with everything that's taking place?
Right. Let's talk a little bit about some of the statements you have made. I want to start with Twitter because this is very disturbing. Nobody deserves to be talked to like this or treated like this. Some of the words I can't even use on the radio, but you've been called the N-word, you said. You've been called a coon, a monkey. That is despicable. I think we all could agree on that. Doesn't matter whether you're a Republican or Democrat. That's despicable, and I'm sorry that people use those terms for you. It's horrible.
Right.
You did say, though, that Democrats call me that and Republicans call me future Congresswoman Spicer. So I guess the question I would ask you, and I think we all agree that's horrible, and I'm so sorry that happened to you. Why are you saying that only Democrats called you those things? I mean, anybody that calls you that is terrible, but why are you saying only Democrats?
For many years, let me make this clear. For many years of my life, I was a very dedicated Democrat. You know, I truly believed in the party. I fought for the issues that they represented. And what happened was that when Trump was running, and I began to listen to some of the things that he stood for and some of the things that he was fighting for. And I think the main thing that caught my attention about him was the fact that he was so vocal. You know, he wasn't hiding what he had to say. He wasn't beating around the bush. It didn't matter who it was that he had something to say or talk about. You know, he put them on blast. And that caught my attention in itself. So that's one of the reasons why I decided to become a Republican and started fighting as a Republican. And one of the things that I noticed, when you're a Democrat, you know, they don't care what you say or what you stand for. Nobody, they don't come in and attack you. But once you switched over to become a Republican, and that's for anybody that's black, it doesn't even matter. Long as you're black, you're going to get attacked. You're going to get called all the N-words. You're going to get called the coons. All of that come with the territory. You know, that's just what they do, because they want to discourage you and tell you to get back in your place, come back where you belong. First of all, I'm an independent thinker, and I can articulate and speak very well for anything that I want to stand up and fight about. And I'm already in my place because I'm fighting for what I believe in, and fighting for this country.
So Lavern,
I don't care about the name calling. You know, True is very ignorant, but that just shows the mentality of the people. But the more shameful part, it's the same ones that are saying that type of dirty, nasty, vulgar stuff. It's the same ones that are voting for the same people over and over in their community that don't even help they, you know what, in the first place. So why would you keep voting for the same people that are not helping you, and you all spend so much time complaining and fighting for the same thing over and over again, but you're not getting anywhere because you keep electing the same people in office over and over again?
Lavern, the point that you made was that you appreciated Trump for his rhetoric and other Republicans because they spoke their mind. They told the truth about what they were thinking inside and about politics and so on and so forth. However, that's just a way of speech. That is rhetoric. That's not so much the politics and the policies that Republicans believe in. Can you explain to me what specific policies that you actually agree with, that Republicans agree with?
Well, some of the policies I agree with, for one, is the fact that we need to close the border. We have open borders. We have people that are coming here by the millions that have not been vetted. We don't know who they are. The only thing we know is that they're coming here and they're getting the benefits. But what about the Americans that work to build this country in the first place? Where is their sweat equity that they put into this country to help build this country? And now they are starving. You know, they have a very low income. Some of them can't afford to buy food. Some of them can't afford to make it in this on a daily basis. And a lot of them are also forced to adopt their grandkids. So where is anything in it for them, you know? But
you're blaming some people who are coming into our country illegally, correct? Is what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm talking about the ones that are coming in illegally, not the ones that are coming legally. I'm talking about the ones that are coming.
So would you agree with me, Lavern, though, that this isn't a Democrat problem or a Republican problem? It's an American problem that has been going on for decades and decades and decades. And don't you think Republicans and Democrats probably need to work together to come up with better solutions? I agree with you. It's certainly a crisis. I don't know if I'd characterize it as the border being wide open, but certainly I think we could agree there are too many people that are undocumented in this country. I agree with you there, but there are a lot of people crossing the border illegally and those that overstay their visas during the Trump administration as well. Were you criticizing Trump for that as well?
Well, what I'm saying is that we have open borders and something needs to be done about it. Something needs to be done about these people that are coming over here illegally.
So what do you think should be done? What's your solution?
And one thing about it, the borders were open before Trump was in office. So I can't blame that on him. So what about the elected officials that was in there all the time that allowed it to happen in the first place?
Okay, I understand. So I want to read it. Just want to read another tweet that you have out, and I want you to receive. So you said there shall be no Biden 2024 under my watch. I understand you're not a Joe Biden supporter, so I understand why you would say that. You said the basement dweller needs to sit down somewhere and let someone without serious dementia run this nation. I guess my question to you is, do you have any medical experience to make a claim like that Joe Biden has dementia?
Well, no, I'm not a medical doctor or anything, but when he's speaking, a lot of times he forget what it is that he's even talking about in the first place.
He's 80 years old, right?
I mean, yeah, he's 80 years old, so that's going to come with the territory.
Sure, but do you think that's appropriate for somebody running for Congress saying that he has dementia when you, and again, with all due respect, you just admitted it, that you don't have any medical experience, and you're not the only one, by the way. There's a lot of people on the right that don't like Joe Biden, and they say he has Alzheimer's, they say he has dementia, and then I say, what's your medical expertise? And they don't have any. Would you say why not just, I guess my question is, why not just focus on the policies you don't like instead of claiming that he has dementia when, let's be honest, you don't know what he has.
Right. Well, I didn't make the claim. Furthermore, what I'm saying is this. It is written. It is what they are writing, it's what they are saying. You see it all the time on the news and the newspapers and the news articles. So it's not like I initiated the claim.
No, I understand. I'm not saying you did.
Alzheimer's patient.
I understand. I'm not claiming
I didn't initiate that claim.
Right. I understand. I'm not saying you initiated it. I'm just saying the people that are saying those types of things are people that have no medical expertise. They haven't given him a physical. I'm just saying I believe that to be a little bit irresponsible, but let's move on. You said Joe Biden wants transgenders and drag queens to run American schools. What policies has Joe Biden put forward to lead you to believe that he wants drag queens to run American schools?
Well, I'm from the era of the 60s. I was born in the 60s. We didn't have drag queens in our school. And this has changed on Biden's watch, on his watch as the president. So something is going on when we see drag queens that they are trying to have in these classrooms, and as well as all these textbooks that they are writing that is about kids having sex and stuff, So it started on his watch.
Can you, because maybe I'm ignorant to this. Can you tell me in what schools do they have drag queens everywhere teaching kids?
Well, they show it all the time on social media.
Can you give me like one school where that's happening?
Whether it's in drag, whether it's in school, or whether it's in a club where they're taking these kids to, where you see the drag queens and you see the mothers sitting there with their little babies and stuff. If you have to be an adult to get into a club, if you're going into a grocery store, you got to be 18 or 21 or whatever to buy beer, to purchase an alcoholic beverage. What I'm saying is that why?
So you're saying young kids are going into 18 and over and 21 and over clubs, children and parents are taking those kids into clubs with drag queens? That's terrible if that's happening. Where is that happening?
They show it all the time on social media.
So Brian,
they show it all the time. I see it all the time.
Lavern, you're not incorrect because she is right. There are a lot of videos out there that show parents bringing their children and babies to drag brunches, not really drag clubs, but drag brunches, or they have their own private party where there are drag queens there. However, one thing that I want to make mention of is that, Lavern, you said this is Joe Biden's issue. I want to make it very clear. Drag queens have been around way before you and I. 1, 2, drag queens have been in and out of different spaces that we don't know about. 3, we didn't have social media, and you probably didn't have social media back in your time when you were growing up as much as we do now. So you probably weren't being made aware of all the different spaces drag queens are in. However, I don't see how you believe this.
I doubt that in the 60s people spent their time entertaining drag queens. I seriously doubt that.
That's fine that you doubt that, Lavern, because you were not giving drag queens exposure and going out and spending your money.
Absolutely not. My parents would have never went for that.
That's fine. That's you and your parents. I respect you and your parents. However, what you cannot say is that this was not already happening. Joe Biden is not in these schools every day saying you should do this, you shouldn't do this, you can do this, and you cannot do this. These are people who are part of private and public entities that Joe Biden probably doesn't even know about that are making the conscious decision to have these drag queens in their schools. On top of that, when you're looking at these different private companies that are having drag brunches and so on, they are having people who made the decision outside of Joe Biden, because I'm sure these people don't have Joe Biden's phone number, to bring their children into these spaces. I think what we're not remembering is that these drag queens are coming in to talk about inclusion and fun, just the same way as we needed Black people to come into classrooms and talk about diversity and inclusion. They're doing the same exact thing.
Two different things. That's two different.
You're doing two different
so
things.
If you're just joining us, she is Lavern Spicer. She is running for Congress in Florida, District 22. Lavern, you believe that Joe Biden wants to teach kids how to masturbate? You said that on social media. Do you believe that?
Excuse me?
You said on Twitter that Joe Biden wants transgenders and drag queens to run American schools while teaching kids about masturbation.
They're already in the schools. They're already doing that. If you look at the books,
drag queens are doing that.
If you look at the books that they have out, that's the type of stupidity that they have in these books that these kids should not be exposed to. In other countries, they're teaching their kids education, mathematics, how to succeed in life. And in this country, we are teaching kids about drag queens. And on the same token, we have taken prayer completely out of school and replaced it with drag queens.
Lavern, I will wholeheartedly have to disagree that drag queens are coming in and teaching our students about masturbation. I can tell you, when I was in middle school and high school, our Caucasian white PE teacher was the one who taught us about masturbation and taught us about sex and making sure we do not contract STDs. I can tell you that in 5th grade, I had Caucasian white male teachers and women Caucasian teachers who split up the boys and the girls and told us about our genitalia. I am so confused to why you think that this is a new topic that's being brought into our school. We have been being taught about masturbation, sex, and STDs.
That's the parents' job. That's the parents' job at the end of the day to decide when and if and when they want to have those type of subjects, sexual subjects with their kids.
I don't disagree.
That's with their kids. A lot of people, they want the right to have those type of topics
now
with their kids. A lot of people don't even want their kids being entertained by that type of stuff, especially if they come from a Christian environment.
Lavern, do you have kids?
Yes, I have kids.
Okay, and when your kids were in these classrooms, when they were talking about sex, did your kids not bring home a letter asking you if it's okay if they're taught about these topics and for you to sign off on that?
No, they didn't.
Listen,
my kids attend.
I'm sorry.
That's not the issue. All of that started at home. That started at home.
Okay,
so I didn't need the classrooms or the teachers to teach my kids about anything because that's my job.
So Lavern, I
want to talk about sex. That's my job. If I want them to be exposed to that, and I'm sure a lot of people in this country feel the same way. That's their jobs as parents to make that decision, and they don't want the school board deciding that for them.
So Lavern, I want to challenge you, since you're running for House Representative, to make this one of your policies where we're actually being more involved in our school systems, because when I was in school, I had to bring a letter to my parents, having them sign off for me to even be in that classroom. They talked about genitalia and sex, and so did my younger sisters. I don't know what schools that you've been through or your children have been through, and I'm sorry that you guys didn't have that option, but I want to implore you, because you are running for Congress, that you make that a part of your policies. If you're so strong on this issue, this should be one of the issues you believe in.
Yeah, it should be. It should be. People should be making that decision. That's their child. They the one gave birth to that child, or adopted that child, or however they got that child. That should be their right and their discussion and on their call, and not the school system responsibility. So, and I believe a lot of people would agree with me. That's why you see so many people down at the school board that are showing up and finding out what's going on with their child in the first place. People got to get involved so they'll know what's taking place. A lot of times people don't even know what type of discussions that they are holding in this classroom.
So you believe that drag queens and transgenders, they're dangerous to children, right? That's your position on that. It's dangerous, right?
I believe that the narratives that they are pushing, if you are trying, I saw a case on social media that the drag queen was giving a child a lap dance, and the child got hurt. So that type of stuff is what I'm against.
I understand, but you're
right. That the classroom is the place. I'm gonna make it clear for kids
I understand.
to go and learn and get an education.
Gotcha. No, I understand. The number one cause of death in children, as you know, is guns, not drag queens. So I want to ask you, what are solutions to the gun violence and the high rate of crime and gun violence that we have in this country? Because I don't see you really talking about that on social media. You certainly talk about pedophiles and drag queens. I don't have one story of a drag queen that ever killed a child. And you know the gun violence that we have in this country is horrendous. So what are your solutions to all the gun violence?
Well, first of all, the criminals already have guns. I'm going to say it again. The criminals already have guns. They don't care about going to through a background check or anything else because they buy them in the streets. People in the streets sell guns every day. They're very accessible. But people should have the right to protect their homes, their jobs, their families, especially in some places when you have a high crime area.
I would just say that the Tennessee shooter purchased guns legally. The Uvalde shooter purchased guns legally. The Buffalo shooter purchased guns legally. The Las Vegas shooter, October 1, that killed over 60 people, purchased guns legally. While I agree that there are a lot of criminals with illegal guns out there, I'm asking you what your solutions are. What are your solutions to you're running for Congress? I take your candidacy very seriously. I want to know what your solutions are.
Well, the solutions is to get people more educated about awareness of guns. First of all, you know, the fact that there's gun violence in every community, and condolences to all the families that have lost loved ones from gun violence. But you know, it takes a village. It takes a village. You know, right? You asked me my solution, so I'm gonna give it to you.
Sure.
I'm gonna give it to you. Sure. The solution is for everybody to get involved when it comes to gun violence. You can't just say it's the police department's job. You know, they rely on the people from the community. So if you're in a community and crimes are occurring, but nobody want to talk about it because nobody want to be a snitch, then that's part of the problem. That's part of the problem. So
when you say get involved,
when you see things that are going on, you need to talk about it because
you're saying
it could be your home also.
You're saying see something, say something, right?
Yes.
So, but that's great. I mean, there's a lot of different marketing tools out there that say, see something, say something, stick up for your communities, and don't be afraid to tell on your fellow man. However, that's not a solution from you. That's just a solution for us. What's something that you can actually implement?
Solution, and that is a solution, because at the end of the day, if don't nobody want to talk about what happened when they sit there and watch whoever drove by and shot the person's house up or shot up that kid's birthday party, but nobody want to come forward to say anything. So guess what? That's a problem. That's a problem, because a lot of time they know exactly who did what, but nobody wants to talk about it.
I guess my question is, I want to know what policies, for example, do you think an 18-year-old should be able to walk into a store and purchase as many rounds of ammunition and a bunch of assault weapons without any training? Are you okay with that?
At the end of the day, anybody that want a gun can buy them. They're going to be able to get them anyway. Whether they go to the counter to buy them or whether they buy them hot in the streets.
Okay, so my understanding is you don't necessarily have any policies you would implement, but you just want people to get involved and talk about the violence and talk about it. I wanted to ask you, Kamala Harris, you had said that she, quote, "You are not Indian and you ain't black. Stop appropriating over language." Kamala Harris's father is from Jamaica. Why would you say she's not partially black? I don't understand that.
Jamaican is Jamaican. If you're black, you're black. If you're black, you are black.
Oh,
she
hold
is
on.
Jamaican. She is Indian.
Lavern, where were you born?
North Carolina.
North Carolina. Where do you currently live?
You know where I live at already. Why are you asking me that?
No, you're in
If
Florida.
you invited me on this show, if you invited me on the show, you already know where I live at.
Lavern, that wasn't a disrespectful question. That was a real question. What city do you live in Florida?
You already know where I live at.
I don't know where you live. I know you're in Florida.
Well, she lives in Florida.
Do you know what city she's in? No, that's the reason I asked.
I do not.
What city do you live in? I went to
Miami.
Florida.
She's in Miami.
Are you in Miami? If you're in Miami, perfect. I'm glad you said that. That's perfect. I was not trying to be disrespectful. I went to Florida International University. I have my bachelor's in communications arts from there. I'm from Chicago, Illinois, and it was definitely a culture shock for me to be in a city where there are people who look like you but have different cultures. They speak like you.
Yeah,
and
that's all over.
Right. That's fine, Lavern.
That's
fine. That's fine, Lavern. However, what I'm trying to get at is this. When you are in America, regardless if you're Jamaican, regardless if you're Haitian, regardless if you're from Africa, if you get pulled over, you are black. When you are not speaking, you are black. When Caucasian people look at you, you are black. They are still afraid of you. You're still considered a black person in America. While there are some Caribbeans who may not believe that they're black here, while there are some Africans who may not like other black people here, you're still black in America. Black and African American is two different things. Jamaican American is two different things. Black encompasses all of us. So she is definitely still black, and she was born in Oakland, California.
It's like this, for each their own. At the end of the day, it really doesn't matter to me.
Well, if it doesn't matter, then why did you bring it up? Hold on.
If you're Jamaican, you're Jamaican.
I'm just asking you, if it doesn't matter to you, and I'll take you for your word, then why would you go on your Twitter account and claim she's not black? Why would you do that?
She's not black. And at the end of the day, it is my Twitter account.
You're allowed to do it. I didn't say you weren't allowed to do it. I just don't know why you would do it. Now you're a Donald Trump supporter, right? And there are a lot of people out there that are Donald Trump supporters. So if Donald Trump runs for office, you're going to vote for him, I would imagine, again, right, in 2024. Is that a fair assessment to make?
Yes, if he's the nominee, of course.
Mm-hmm. When Donald Trump bragged about, say, sexual assault, 25 plus women that have accused him of sexual assault or rape, including his ex-wife. As a woman, how do you feel about that?
As a woman, he's not the only one that's been accused of sexual assault.
I'm not doing whataboutism. You're the Donald Trump supporter. I'm asking you, as a woman, in regards to Donald Trump, when he has an open rape case right now, which he's probably going to lose, a civil case. His own ex-wife accused him of rape. He's bragged about sexual assault. He has kids with multiple women. Is he the
only man in America to have kids with multiple women?
He's one of the few men in America that's running for president. That's what we're talking about right now. I don't condone any of that.
Is he one of the few men in America that has a sexual assault case?
Joe Biden doesn't.
Oh, really? Well, I see one of the where his daughter has accused him of molesting her.
That's a completely unfounded claim, and he's never been charged with anything involving sexual assault.
Yeah, of course, he's the president.
Well, Donald Trump has. I'm just asking you, as a woman, I guess it doesn't bother you, and that's okay. I'll move on. When Donald Trump goes after a POW and John McCain and says he doesn't respect John McCain because he was captured, what do you think about that?
I think that if you're so concerned about POW, speaking of them, why don't you ask your President Paul Biden to free Paul Wheeler while you're speaking about POWs? So
you think he can just pick up the phone and Waylon is his name, by the way. You think he can just pick up a phone and say, "Hey, can you release him?" Is that how you think it works? Or I'm just trying to.
Thing I know is that they freed Brittany. So if they free Brittany, I'm sure they can release her.
Okay. What did you think about when Otto Warmbier came home as a vegetable? What did you think about that? Did you criticize Donald Trump for that?
Really?
I think it's a fair question because I'm totally open to talking about your criticisms of Joe Biden. I don't like Joe Biden a lot either. He wasn't my first, second, or third.
I still can't tell. Look like to me that y'all are like his number one fan.
Okay, because well, that's great.
All this conversation has been about is Biden. And how much more time do we have on this show anyway?
I understand. Hold on, Jamie. I understand that you probably don't want to be challenged on some of the ridiculous things that you said.
I could care less about being challenged because you know what? Okay. That's what makes America a beautiful damn country. We have
let me be very clear.
We have our opinion. We have the fact to say what we feel, and it's all the diversity. You know, we could be.
Why is there such little diversity in the Republican Party?
How we feel about whatever. That's what makes this country a beautiful country.
Why is it then that there are so few people that look like you that are in the Republican Party? Why are there so many minorities in the Democrat Party, but the party that you choose, there are so few women and minorities? What is that?
Well, one thing I could say is that I have seen a big change, and I see a lot of blacks leaving the Democratic Party because they're tired of their lies. They're leaving
what
the
lies?
Democratic Party.
What lies? Give me a lie.
Like I said, they tired of the lies. That's why they leave the Democratic Party, and that's why so many of them are Republicans, and that's why so many black Republicans ran for Congress in 2020 more than in the history ever in the United States of America.
What lies are you referring
to? It's not a few, it's plenty of us.
There
and
are
a
more
lot of people
minorities
feel the same way I do, but they just don't want to be vocal about it because they are afraid. And I talk to them each and every day.
Gotcha.
So I know that for a fact.
Well, what lies are you referring to?
I see it every day. Each and every day I see it.
Okay. I wanted to ask you, though, what lies are you referring to? What Democratic lies? Can you be specific?
I'm asking you, Brian, because I really don't want to hang up on you and your little show.
So you don't want to answer my question?
I want to know how much more time is this?
And I want you to answer my question. What Democrat lies are you referring to? Can you be specific on anything? You make generalizations that Joe Biden enables pedophiles and drag queens in schools.
Okay, what I'm talking about is the promises.
What promises?
Promises.
What promises?
It's the promises.
What promises? Why can't you answer one of my questions? You say that Democrats lie.
Question, bro. I'm going to answer your question.
I'm waiting.
I am talking about in the communities that vote for these black elected Democratic officials that are elected, that make all these promises to do this and help the community out.
Name me a promise. Name me a lie.
The only thing they do is sell us out. They don't help us at all.
And
I've seen that happening over and over again. Such as a case in point.
Gotcha.
Right here in Miami. I'm going to give you the prime example.
Okay. Was it a Republican lie?
Wait a minute. You asking me and I'm going to tell you. Okay. Right here in Miami, where we have a huge Democratic voting base in the black community, they have basically put everybody out of the housing projects that we have here. So we have several housing development that where blacks live for over like at least 30 or 40 years that are now vacant. And they sent these people down south. They have totally disenfranchised them from their families.
Let me ask you a question about that.
Disenfranchised from their loved ones. Wait. You asked me.
I know.
So I'm talking about what's going on in my community.
You're talking about the project, people in Miami being disenfranchised. Did you have the same complaint of the thousands of lawsuits that the man who used to support Donald Trump when he disenfranchised black people in New York City and he had to pay off those lawsuits?
But guess what? Donald Trump was never a commissioner in my district. I'm talking about my district.
Dude,
you're talking about my community. I'm not talking about what Donald Trump did because I never.
I know you don't, but I am.
In Liberty City in the office. I'm talking about these black elected
Democrat lies,
as well as Chicago and these other places. How they don't do nothing to help the black people. When you look at Chicago and you look at that high crime district, what are they doing to help those people? That's the same failure that we see in the Democratic Party over and over again. They have totally let us down as black people. So that's exactly, you asked me a question. I'm talking about my community and what took place in my community.
And you haven't shown me any evidence the Democrats lied, but would you call it a Republican lie when Donald Trump?
I just told you they lied.
Would you call it a Republican lie when Donald Trump?
If they lied, I don't give a damn what they are. If they're Democrat, independent, Republican, or otherwise, if they lie, they lie. A lie is what it is. It doesn't matter where they come from. It doesn't matter what platform they have. I don't care who they support. It don't even make me no difference. It is what it is.
Did Donald Trump lie when he said he won the 2020 election? Because I haven't heard you talk about that. Was that a lie?
Where are the 81 million people that voted for Biden? Where are they at? Where are the 81 million people that voted for Biden?
Where's your evidence of fraud? Where's your evidence?
Where are they at?
So it's
Where
not a
are
lie.
they?
It's
Show 'em
not
to
a
me.
lie. I'm
I
one
want
of
to
them.
see them.
I'm one
I
of
want
them.
to see them because what I saw was people pulling up to those voting stations 4 in the morning, dropping those ballots off.
That's absolutely a lie, and that is not true.
Taking place.
So it's not a lie when
stuff that was going down at these polling sites. So I don't care. At the end of the day,
so it's not a lie when Donald Trump says
in Miami, we have dead people that come back to vote every year. So you can call it what you want, and I'm gonna call it what I want.
Winning the 2020 election, that's not a lie. So Donald
Where
Trump
the
is a
81
liar,
million voters at?
right?
Where
But
they at?
Democrats
Where
are
they
liars.
at? I want to see them. I want to see the 81 million voters. I want to see where the 81 million voters at.
Okay, so you're running for office, yet you think
Because
that
I have a
Democrats
hard
in the
time
2020 election.
believing that 81 million people actually voted for him.
Gotcha. So, Lavern, I say this with all due respect. You are not a serious candidate. You make gross
I don't
assumptions
care
about
what
Democrats.
you say because
You
my
have no
life is not
chance to
based
win.
on you. Whether you
You
call
have
me a
no
serious
chance to
candidate
win.
or not,
You're
really
not
does
very
not matter because
intelligent,
at the
and you
end
have
of the
no
day,
chance to
I'm
win.
going to continue fighting for what I believe
And you
in,
have no
and I'm
chance
going
to
to
win
continue
because you are not
feeding my
educated on
community,
the issues.
and I'm going to
You're a
continue doing
conspiracy theorist.
everything that I do, whether you like it or
I
not.
will make a
because
wager
I
right
don't
now.
need
You have
you to
absolutely no
validate
chance
my
to
life.
win.
I don't need you to validate
I want to know
anything
what
in my
Lavern
life.
said, because
I
Lavern,
don't need a validation for
right.
y'all because I'm everything that God say I am. I'm a believer, and I'm going to
What did you say?
continue fighting for those that don't have a voice. And have a nice day.
Wait,
Goodbye.
Lavern,
And
what did you
hasta
say?
la
She's
vista.
talking. She's not listening.
Listen, she going
Goodbye.
off.
See you later.
I just want to know what she said. Called me earlier.
Who cares?
Because listen, Lavern, she said that she wants to fight for Black people, but here she is. Here's a young African American man who's trying to make a way for himself, who's been fighting in this industry for 8 years, who's trying to have a civil conversation with her. And what she wants to do is devalue me, but did not devalue. I'm not saying that you need to be devalued because you're white, but I'm saying is that she spared you, but she's coming for me. But she wants me to believe as an African American person, she has my back. Girl, if you don't get out of here.
Hey, Jamie.
She's lucky she had you. She's lucky she had you.
Jamie, well,
because if I was no. She's lucky she had you to talk to her.
Jamie,
because when I was responding,
let me be clear.
Woo, child.
Jamie,
listen, I had to remove my headphones. I'm irritated.
Jamie, don't take it personal. She is a moron.
Oh no, I don't take it personal.
She's a
That's fine, Brian. What I want you to understand is this. One thing that I can say, and you can disagree with me or not, I'm going to stand on this. One thing that you don't experience that I experience is that as a Black individual, we are facing against every other ethnicity. And when you have your own ethnicity coming against you, when they're trying to sit here and say at the same time they have your back. When I lived in Miami, Florida, I was actually about looking at the policies. I was a college student that a lot of these politicians have to come talk to, and they came to our school at FIU because Obama came. And my thing is, you want to sit here and try to tell me that you are from Miami, Florida? Girl, if you don't stop being a waste of time,
we got to take
a break at McDonald's.
We got to take a break. Please. We got to take a break. But before we take a break, let me just say this. She makes gross assumptions about Democrats, that Joe Biden is enabling pedophiles and there's drag queens in our schools. Her solution to gun violence is let's talk about it, which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. She has no understanding of foreign policy. She thinks Joe Biden can just pick up the phone and get Whalen out of Russia, which is idiocy at its finest. She talks about the projects and Black people being disenfranchised in some alleged story in Miami. But then when I talked to her about the thousands and thousands of Black people that Donald Trump was sued for disenfranchising people in the apartments that he owned in Manhattan, completely ignorant to that, didn't want to talk about it. She didn't directly answer one of my questions. And I will say this in closing. She literally has, even among Republicans, she has no chance of winning. She is a complete idiot. And I will never invite her back on my show because she is a moron. We got to take a break.
She said she was going to hang up on you earlier.
Yeah, well,
I dislike a politician who can't handle an interview. My thing is, y'all were both young with each other for sure, but she definitely started off the wrong way.
For the record, I was being extremely.
No, you're calm at first. You really were.
I was being extremely patient and respectful to her. But when you're that stupid and you can't even answer a direct question, you're running for Congress, she is an embarrassment to the state of Florida. And she is an embarrassment to this country, and quite frankly, an embarrassment to Black people. And I think Jamie would agree with me on that.
Oh, trust me, I do agree.
Yeah. All right, Jamie, we're going to take a break and take a deep breath. We're going to have some fun when we come back. Not to say that wasn't fun in exposing the stupidity of some of these MAGAs, but
Brian, your face is extremely red on YouTube right now.
Oh, she got me fired up, man. We are going to take a quick break. One of my favorite comedians here, his name is Mark Cohen. He actually appeared in my favorite show, Curb Your Enthusiasm. Very funny comedian. He's at the Comedy Cellar Great place to catch some stand-up comedy. Not that last segment wasn't comedy, but Mark Cohen is a very talented and funny man, and he's going to be joining us next in studio. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back right after this. You're listening to Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, everybody, are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. Located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Reed Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super hero, that is, because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
Hey everybody, it's Brian Shapiro from Pushing the Limits. I want to tell you guys about Sahara West Urgent Care and Wellness. They're conveniently located on the southwest corner of Sahara and Jones. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. At Sahara West Urgent Care, they'll take care of all your healthcare needs. They offer routine services such as physicals, STD testing, car accident treatment, and work injuries. You name it, they do it. They have on-site X-ray, EKG, ultrasound, and labs. They treat chronic conditions such as asthma, blood pressure, diabetes, and more. They also offer general wellness exams and treatments such as testosterone enhancement and cancer screening. They're located on Sahara, 6125 West Sahara Avenue. Their number is 702-248-0554. And the best part, they accept most major insurances and affordable cash pay prices, office visits starting at just $95. And I'm also a client. So please give them a call, 702-248-0554.
Locally owned and operated, come on down to Academy of Hair Design located at 5191 West Charleston Boulevard, number 150 today to begin your career in cosmetology. There is something for everyone from cosmetology to nanotechnology. You will be able to have the hands-on training that is needed to succeed in this career field. Call 702-878-1185 or visit www.ahdvegas.com today.
The London Bridge Resort in Lake Havasu is the perfect place to vacation in style. Their beautifully designed suites include stunning views, a kitchenette, and free Wi-Fi. The well-reviewed and affordable resort has tons of amenities, including a breakfast buffet, kids camp, a 9-hole golf course, 3 pools, a marina, boat tours, a water slide, and a great nightlife scene. London Bridge Resort is centrally located in Lake Havasu City, Arizona. Go to londonbridgeresort.com to plan your getaway today. London Bridge Resort, your Arizona oasis destination.
That's 702-869-0003. See you at Sapphire.
Hungry for the best barbecue in Las Vegas? Come out to the infamous barbecue and meat market, John Mole's Meats and Roadkill Grill in Las Vegas. John Mole's was featured on the Food Network's Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. Now take home delicious meat selections for your grill, and while you're there, grab a bite of the best barbecue in Las Vegas. With 2 locations now at Tom and Gowan or on North Decatur, you're sure to find the perfect meats for your next barbecue or party. Find us online at johnmolemeats.com.
KSHP North Las Vegas, 107.1 FM, 1400 AM, K29 6HP North Las Vegas, and online at kshp.com.
All right, welcome back. Pushing the limits on a Tuesday. We're going to take a breather after that last segment. Hey, if you guys have stress that I have or any medical problems, check out Sahara West Urgent Primary Care. They're located at Sahara, right down the street here, Sahara and Jones. No appointment needed. Give them a call, 702-248-0554. You can visit them online at SaharaWestUrgentCare.com. They take most insurances if you don't have it. $95, Sahara West Urgent Care. Check them out. All right, I figured let's have a little bit of fun. Let's smile a little and let's laugh after that debacle of that last segment. The guy we have with us in the studio right now, he's been doing stand-up comedy for quite a while right now. I'm not calling him old because I am old, but his name is Mark Cohen. He's been on some of my favorite shows, including Curb Your Enthusiasm, Funny People. He's certainly known for that as well, and he performs at the Comedy Cellar almost on a nightly basis at the Rio. But he's nice enough to come in on his day off today.
Tuesday.
It's good to meet you, Mr. Cohen. How are you, my friend?
I'm really good. I'm running for office.
I'm going to say, please don't.
Okay.
It wouldn't happen to be in Florida, would it?
Not another one.
It wouldn't happen to be in Florida, would it?
Of course in Florida.
The first thing, Mark, the first thing I said to Mark is like, not to be confused with Michael Cohen, which would be, of course, Donald Trump's former attorney. And then, Mark, you said, yeah, most people wouldn't even know.
No, they don't know. Yeah. People in the prison know who he was.
That's true.
Wait, pause. This is the first time you guys both met?
Yeah, I guess so.
Oh, I love that.
We've talked before.
No, we have a lot of chemistry.
Yeah.
Me and Mark,
I love that.
We have a lot of chemistry.
We're going to go to a Minion soon.
We're going to go to synagogue this weekend. So, Mark, when did you start in this business, and how did you get started?
I started in 1927. I was on my horse. Actually, I started late, kind of, for me. I'm an older guy, but I started in probably 84 or 5.
Wow.
In New
I was
York.
5 years old.
Yeah, and I'm still doing the same jokes, ladies and gentlemen.
You started in 1985. Wow.
I guess so. I graduated in 1978. Yeah, I moved to New York to be an actor and messed around for a few years, and then I go, I'll support myself.
So when you're talking to your family and you're like, listen, this is what I want to do, like, what do your parents do to say, I want to be a comic?
Well, I didn't say that. I wanted to be an actor at the time.
Right.
Comedy was to support acting, but I realized that was not going to happen.
And look at you now. You're in Las Vegas performing at the Rio.
That's right.
This is one of the greatest entertainment capital of the world.
It
right?
is. I've been here a long time. I was in the Rat Pack show 20
that
years
was a good
ago.
show. Yeah.
David Cassidy and
Sure.
Don Rio
That's
produced.
a legendary show.
That's why I have a daughter here that was produced from that
That
show
is
as
so
well.
cool.
I would have produced from the show.
And well, kind of internally.
You've worked with some enormous names in this business. Name drop for me.
Oh, what have I done?
Yeah, people that you've worked with.
It's so weird. I had a small part on Friends, and people really react to that for some reason. Do you watch Friends, or did you watch Friends?
Jennifer Aniston is unbelievably beautiful.
I was her lover in 6 seasons of Friends.
How was that?
It was backstage, obviously. Don't tell her either. But.
What was it like being on the set of that show?
It was great. I was in early too, the third. I was the mattress king.
I don't even remember that. Yeah. Oh my God, I got to go back and look at that now.
This woman comes up to me at the cellar and she's shaking and she's crying and she goes, "You were the mattress king on Friends," and I go, "Oh, that's pretty funny. You're making fun of me."
Was there anybody that mistreated you on that show?
No.
David Schwimmer wasn't a douchebag.
No, as a matter of fact, I was friends with, I guess I still am. I'm friends with Ray Romano.
Oh, cool. Ray's great.
His show had just started.
Yep.
It was on like 2 weeks, and Ray's like, "Hey, can I come to your taping?" And I was like, "Sure." So we're walking backstage, and Schwimmer's walking towards us, and Ray's show's only been on like 2 weeks.
Right.
Schwimmer's walking towards us, and he walks by us, and he stops. He goes, "Ray Romano, oh my God, your show is so great." And I'm like, "This is so."
When you're on that
weird.
show, did you ever have any idea that it would be the iconic show that it became?
Not really. It was kind of growing, But no way. You know,
So,
I still
yeah.
get amazing. You know, everyone gets checks from people. I shouldn't say I'll probably get taxed, but people get residuals for like pennies, and that show still gives me good money.
Little
That's
residual.
crazy, yeah.
Speaking of a show that a lot of people get paid from is a show called Curb Your Enthusiasm. I want to talk a little bit about Larry David. So there was an episode that you were in, and it's actually a very, very funny episode that I want to get to. Never Wait for Seconds. And you're in a scene in this episode where, some people get frustrated where you wait in line at a buffet and you want seconds. I don't think you should have to go back to the beginning of the line, but you were one of the patrons in the line, right? And you got very, very frustrated at the person that was sort of cutting. I want to play this for you, play this clip, and then we're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Sorry, buddy.
There's a line.
There's a line.
You can't just walk up here.
We've been waiting.
Come on, man. Being rude.
Come on,
you
Brian.
gotta get to the back.
Yeah,
my
we're
friend.
in line.
You've been waiting.
So
I'm
just
getting some potatoes.
No, I don't care what you're
Get
getting.
in the back.
1 minute. 1 minute. Just a minute. Are you getting seconds?
Yes, sir.
The man is getting seconds.
Hey, it doesn't matter.
The man is already waited on this line.
Larry, we're hungry.
We're all hungry. I'm hungry too. But to make him wait another 10 minutes for a few measly potatoes, shame on you. Shame on all of you.
Okay.
That's not how we do things here in America.
Mark,
We don't wait for seconds. Never.
Just hilarious.
Never wait.
What is that like? I just want to go through your mind here. You're in a scene with, in my opinion, one of the most iconic comedians of our generation. What is that like, just being on the set there and doing that?
It was great, but it was so funny because we did ad lib. I didn't know the two women.
Really?
No. And,
all ad lib.
and we did it for a long time, and I was like, I'm never gonna get in this because they were really good and they were.
Right.
So I was in it much more than I thought I would be, and but it was great. And I can't think of his name right now because he died, but he was in the show. He was
Dave. That was the Dave. Yeah.
Him and Larry.
He just passed away.
Larry would come up and go, "You do this and make fun of them." And then he would come over and go, "Don't listen to him. Do the opposite." And like,
Dave told you that?
Yeah, it was like he gave us the opposite direction of him.
You guys are all conflicted, just like, what do we do?
Yeah.
How do you?
We listen to Larry.
How do you get a gig like that? Like who?
That was an audition.
Really?
When I say I know Larry, I know him. I don't know him, and I didn't get it through him. Sometimes you get stuff through people, like. But Friends was an audition process, and
Did you have an agent?
I had an agent back then. I don't have an agent.
How many auditions, Mark, do you think you've done in your life?
Oh, that's a good question. Hey, you're good at this. That's not even written down, everybody.
Thank you.
I would say hundreds. I was counting it. I mean, I've been at the Rio. I must have done 4,000 or 5,000 shows at the Rio.
That's incredible.
Because
there's a lot of actors and actresses out there. It's a painful process doing these auditions over, and especially
I'm not good at auditions. I'm not good at and I did a movie. Now I'm sounding like I did a movie. I mean, it's a tiny movie, but J.K. Simmons was in it. Do you guys know?
Sure, I do. Yeah.
And he was just. I watched him work, and this is going to sound bad, but it was good. He did nothing when he was acting.
Right.
Because whenever I see myself on TV, you're just big, because I'm so big.
Yeah.
So my next couple auditions, I go, I'm not going to think about the part or anything. Right. All I did was think of doing nothing.
Mark, the funny thing is that people don't realize when you're in the industry, I'm also an actor as well. I have 4 TV shows. The main
Nickelodeon child star over here.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm going to let him say it. But I was on 4 TV shows on TV One, Oxygen, and ID Channel. I have a movie on Netflix that I choreographed small parts of, and I had a small co-star role. And a lot of people don't realize that it's more of a job auditioning for
it's brutal.
These gigs than it is actually being
Can
on
I bring
the
up
gigs.
something to what you're talking about, Jamie? Did you ever watch the show Entourage?
Not really, but
there's
a little
show
bit.
with Johnny Drama, the guy who plays Johnny Drama. Dylan is his name in real life, and he's going through the process of an actor where he's been a 20, 30-year actor, and he still has to audition over and over again, and he gets panic attacks. And then there's one scene where he's like, I've had to do this for 30 years. You know all my work, yet I still have to get up here and be a puppet for you guys.
Yeah.
Is that how you feel?
Yeah. When I used to ride the subway in New York, Lavern and Shirley had been off the air,
Yeah.
and I look up, and Squiggy or Squiggy, one of them, Squiggy, was on the subway going over lines, going to an audition. I was like, why does this guy have to go to, I mean, you
It's
do know his
ridiculous.
work.
Yeah,
you know
there's
what I
some
mean?
people who just get booked because of their names. There's others who you think they should get booked for their names, but they're still fighting against
But
the
at least
industry.
give them a shot. I mean,
Because of, I mean, you've talked a little bit about it, your relationship with Larry David and being on the set of Friends, but in your life, you've met a lot of prominent people. Have there ever been any moments in your life where you're like, wow, I can't believe I just hung out with that guy because of who you are and what you do for a living?
Probably.
Yeah.
I mean, I used to work on talk shows and stuff, so
Right.
all kind. I mean, I used to wait tables, and people would probably be coming. Woody Allen, I would wait on, and Dick Van Dyke, and
Woody Allen, was he hitting on any 15-year-olds?
He would always leave a 16% tip. Ladies and gentlemen.
Nice. I love it.
No,
I love it.
But so I mean, yeah, I mean, I've hung, I've partied with some people and hung out with people.
What a grind, though, right?
But I
Because-
would never call him. I mean, I hate the people. Oh, I'm friends with this guy.
Right. I just like hearing stories.
You want to name drop people you actually know.
When I love when somebody dies now because of Facebook or Twitter, it's horrible because they either become the best actor or the best comedian.
We've
or the
lost
best
so many
friend.
wonderful people, right? I mean, Bob Saget, I've interviewed him multiple times.
yeah.
I remember I was interviewing him backstage at the Hard Rock 10 years ago when it was the Hard Rock. And my mom calls me in the middle of the interview, and he grabs the phone. He said, "Can I answer it?" I said, "Sure." Right in the middle of the interview, he answers it, and then he says, "Is this Brian's mom? I want you to know I'm Brian's real dad." And he's having a conversation with my mom. What a legend, right? Gilbert Godfrey, another one. Louis Anderson is a guy that I just interviewed a year and a half ago. It's just terrible.
Yeah, it is horrible. And as you get older, I'm just turned 20. I guess they can't see me, so I don't know.
No, they can't see. We're live on YouTube right now. The camera's right there.
Mark, I got bad
Live
news
on
for you.
YouTube, Facebook, Instagram,
God, you look
all that.
terrible for 20 years old. What did they do to you, Mark? It's terrible. But it's interesting because during COVID, I don't know what you were doing. I mean, I talk to comics all the time, and they're just doing a lot of videos. And like, what were you doing during COVID?
Nothing. The same thing. Same thing I do now, except I didn't go to work at night.
Right.
I really thought I was kind of happy when it happened. Not happy, but I was like, oh, this is
you get a break.
It's going to be 2 weeks.
Right.
So I was kind of after a while.
Yeah, that's just brutal. If you're just joining us, comedian Mark Cohen. He performs at the Comedy Cellar at the Rio almost nightly. This is his day off today. They have 2 shows there, I believe, 7 and 9:30, and Mark is there almost every day.
Sometimes every night.
Yeah.
For the first year, I was there every night. Though.
What do you make of this era of comedy? I mean, I hate to bring up the whole Will Smith, Chris Rock thing, but sometimes are you ever afraid of touching on certain subjects where that somebody might come up to you after?
No, but you know what does stink a little bit is everyone putting up their crowd work.
What do you mean by that? Can you explain?
If you watch on YouTube, everyone puts up, so where are you from? Which is fine. It's a good. It's
Anybody have a
talent.
birthday today?
Yeah, and they, instead of doing their material, they're
Right.
doing crowd work.
Right.
Or they get in fights with people, or people yell, "Hey, don't do that baby joke," or whatever.
Gotcha.
And then they put that up. So now people in the audience are kind of getting trained to think that they're part of the.
And they have a say
do
so
that.
in your.
So
in your
I mean, I
routine.
do a lot of crowd work because I'm there every night. But they would keep their place.
Sure, of course.
They would ask them a question and then they would answer. But now they yell stuff.
So I have to ask you this then, based on your profession. I was once kicked out of an Andrew Dice Clay show, and I want.
You were?
Yes.
I
and
was once kicked into one.
Really? You were kicked? That's
Ladies
actually
and
really funny.
gentlemen.
That's funny. He's a comedian. Okay, tell me if
you laugh like a comedian. Go, that's funny. You don't
tell
laugh
me if
because
you,
that's funny.
Mark. Tell me if you think I was wrong. I'm there with a date. I'd never seen him before. They put me front row, and
already you're wrong.
Already I'm wrong, probably. No, but I like to be made fun of. I don't want to be a part of the show. I
Right.
just want to be made. I like it. I like being made fun of. I want attention. So. I'm wearing a fedora and a suit, and I'm with a lovely lady. Of course, time's not on my side. We only went on a few dates. But he says to me, "What do you think if a guy like you wearing that hat and a guy like me walked into one of these clubs?" I guess he was trying to knock at me. So I answer him. I said, they'd say, "Why are you hanging out with your grandpa?" And everybody started, ooh, and I'm not
This
sure.
was during the course of the show.
During the show.
Yes.
He addressed me.
Right.
And then he said, "Oh, you think..." I'm sorry, I have a horrible Dice impersonation. you think you're really effing funny, huh? Let me tell you something. I'm the best. And I said, if you were the best, you wouldn't be in front of 100 people at the Riviera. Now, that was probably mean, but I said it.
Brian.
But you didn't start the instigation.
No. So I said that, and the crowd is enjoying. And I think he's insulted. So he says right after, "How much did you pay for those effing tickets?" Mark, I work in radio. I'm also Jewish, so I hate to say this, but I do like things for free, okay? Some people might not like that joke, but I'm Jewish, I can say it. So I said, "Nothing. I got him comped." He says, "Good, then get the F out of my show." So I thought he was joking. So I left. A security guard, my date is still there. He starts talking to her as I'm leaving. "Now I got you all to myself." And then she left after that. Was I wrong? Did I do anything wrong?
It sounds like in this situation. It doesn't sound like you were on.
Okay.
And it sounds like he was a little thin-skinned.
He is thin-skinned. Are there comics
But
like
I
that?
don't. Yeah, I guess, but I'd never. I try not to get mad. Some people get mad at the audiences.
Have you ever had a situation where you had to kick somebody out because they were just being douchebags, or
I never would do it, but I have seen people get thrown out a lot. My funniest thing that happened to me a couple weeks ago, I walked on stage and went, "Hi, everybody, how you doing?" And a voice in the back goes, "Boring." I was like, that was on for 10 seconds.
You know what's annoying? Like, I see some comics on stage, and they're like, "Does anybody have a birthday today? Thank you so much for joining us on comedy night." Okay, fine, a couple of those, no problem. You want to get the crowd going, but it's like 10 or 20 of them in a row. It's like, dude, come on.
Yeah, sometimes people come up and ask you to do it and stuff.
Yes.
Too, you know what I mean?
Well, Mark, here's what I would like to do if you could stick around for a few more minutes on your day off, if
my
that's
night off.
okay.
Going into
yes,
the night off.
yes, a few more minutes. I want to take a break, and when we come back, I want to ask you what probably other people have asked you, but I want to talk about some of the comics you looked up to growing up and why you got into this business, and talk a little bit about maybe some comedians that are overrated. I'll do that. You don't have to do it. See, I'm not going to ask Mark to do that. I'll do that.
You'll know more comedians.
And I want to know Jamie's take on like millennials. What do millennials?
For sure. I have a few questions for you too.
Yes.
I'm just waiting for my turn.
Yes. So Jamie's going to start the next
I
segment.
have a few questions for you. Get ready for it.
Jamie's going to start the next
I'm going to haggle you, Mark.
Mark isn't calling us.
I'm kidding.
Mark isn't calling us names like the last guest, so I appreciate that.
I don't even know what she called me. I'm still irritated by that.
We'll go back and listen.
Too soon, Brian.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll take a quick break. We'll be back right after this. You're listening to Pushing the Limits right here on KSHP.
Oh, yeah.
Pushing the limits.
Hey, everybody, are you struggling to find a pizza place that reminds you of Brooklyn? That true blue New York style pie? Well, worry no more. Stallone's Italian Eatery Pizza is a knockout. We're located at 467 East Silverado Ranch Boulevard, just off of Premium Road, half a mile east of South Point Casino, just minutes from the Las Vegas Strip. Come by and grab a slice of pie. Plus, check out our Brooklyn-inspired Italian cuisine. Our sandwiches are super. Hero, that is. Because why be a sub when you can be a hero? Stallone's Italian Eatery is here to serve you phenomenal food, Vegas. Forget about it.
Hey everybody, it's Brian Shapiro from Pushing the Limits. I want to tell you guys about Sahara West Urgent Care and Wellness. They're conveniently located on the southwest corner of Sahara and Jones. They're open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. and Saturday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. At Sahara West Urgent Care, they'll take care of all your healthcare needs. They offer routine services such as physicals, STD testing, car accident treatment, and work injuries. You name it, they do it. They have on-site x-ray, EKG, ultrasound, and labs. They treat chronic conditions such as asthma, blood pressure, diabetes, and more. They also offer general wellness exams and treatments such as testosterone enhancement and cancer screening. They're located on Sahara, 6125 West Sahara Avenue. Their number is 702-248-0554. And the best part, they accept most major insurances and affordable cash pay prices, office visits starting at just $95. And I'm also a client, so please give them a call, 702-248-0554.
Big Dogs Brewing Company, open 24/7, is an award-winning brewery, a full-service catering business, and a fun, smoke-free brew pub restaurant with a full-service bar, including over 35 craft beers on tap, 35 multi-denomination slot machines, the best gaming promotion, and a lively, dog-friendly outdoor patio. Big Dogs Brewing Company, 4543 North Rancho at Gray. Find out more at BigDogsBrews.com.
Buying or selling a home is a huge life event that requires guidance from an expert in the industry and community. My name is Blake Wynn. You may recognize my name as my grandfather was the best governor the state of Nevada has ever had. Growing up in Las Vegas, I've come to know this community intricately. Now, I am raising a family here as well. So I understand all the issues impacting our home and quality of life. As the top realtor for the #1 real estate team at Keller Williams, you can have confidence in my experience, knowledge, and track record. When it comes to buying, selling, or investing in real estate, choose a name you can trust and someone who understands the community you call home. Call Blake Wynn today and experience the difference of a trusted expert. 702-540-3311.
Do you want to take your business to the next level? Then join one of the fastest growing talk shows, Pushing the Limits. We have a wide range of sales packages that can fit your budget. Anything from on-site live remotes to in-studio interviews. Email Jamie, JamieD@KSHP.com. That's JAIME, capital DEE, @KSHP.com.
Sapphire Pool and Day Club, the world's only topless gentlemen's day club, introduces its 2023 pool season lineup with a bevy of beauties and social media celebrities throughout the summer who will all host alongside hundreds of Sapphire's topless poolside entertainers. Enjoy brunch in the sun with items like frittata-style omelets, stripping chicken, and French kiss toast before washing it down with signature summertime cocktails. 10 lines, beware. Go Bear! Ladies are welcome to go topless within the day club for the ultimate party. Guests can purchase affordable day bed packages, cabana packages, lounge chairs, and more. The best part though? Pushing the Limits will be broadcasting shows every other Friday throughout the pool season with a ton of surprise celebrity guests. Wow! Reserve your spot now. For more info, visit sapphirepoolLV.com or call 702-869-0003. That's 702-869-0003. See you at Sapphire.
All right, welcome back. It is Pushing the Limits on a Tuesday. I'll tell you guys about my favorite gaming bar in town, Jackson's Bar and Grill. They got these Wheel Spin Wednesdays where if you earn 200 points, you get to spin the wheel. You can win up to $3,000, and then another 300 points, you get another wheel spin. And then on Fridays, if you earn 1,500 points, you get $100 in free slot play the next day. Great promotions, great atmosphere. Jackson's Bar and Grill, located at Flamingo and Jones. Please check them out. I was just over there yesterday. We got very funny comedian and actor Mark Cohen. My brother from another mother, Mr.
right.
Mark Cohen. It's Cohen and Shapiro. It sounds like a law firm, but
It truly does. Can you guys help me with my condo situation?
Of course. Yeah.
Hey, Mark, it's such a pleasure to have you here. For those who are just now tuning in, again, he is an amazing comedian and actor. Please follow us on our social media accounts at PTL Radio Show. That's PTLRADIOSHOW. We're live on YouTube right now, and I'm also commenting back with you all. Mark, I
Yes,
want to
sir.
get into your journey. You did say you started off in entertainment trying to be an actor.
Correct.
Realized that wasn't the direction you wanted to go, so you moved into comedy. Can you walk us through how did that realization come about, and how has your journey been in comedy so far?
I moved to New York when I was 17
Wow.
and I went to school called the American Academy of Dramatic Arts.
Okay.
And I went for 2 years, and then I was in New York, and I was like, well, I was trying to get experiences.
Right.
So I said, I miss college. So I went to college, and I acted in college, and then I moved back to New York and became a waiter and blah, blah, blah. And years, tried to get auditions, couldn't get an agent or manager, didn't know anybody. And it was the comedy boom, and I started doing stand-up, and within 2 weeks, I was able to quit my job.
That quick?
Wow. Yeah, because there was such a demand. I mean, the comedy clubs in New York would go to 4 in the morning.
Oh, wow.
Back then. And the joke was, back when I started, I had a car. So to get your job.
In New York?
Yeah. And you would send your picture of your car, your 8x10 of your car, to get the gigs because you would drive the headliners. So that's how but the first year I did comedy, I probably made more money than I ever had, and for a long time did, because there was so much work. Every pizza place had it, every restaurant.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? It wasn't comedy clubs, but it was work,
That's good. I'm happy that you had the chance to be able to follow your dream and also be able to just pivot. I think a lot of times people believe that when you have a passion, you have to stick to it, and that you can't grow out of the passion and find a new one.
his dream was definitely on Pushing the Limits. With Brian.
Right.
This is definitely his dream.
And you can be good at something, but you got to be
right.
great.
And now
a lot
I
of
know
times,
we've been talking about you being at the Rio pretty much almost nightly. Can you explain what that means? You're the permanent host. How did you get that gig, and how are you staying in your gig? Because a lot of times comedians don't get to stay where they're at for these
I'm lucky.
years.
I'm a lucky man in that respect. I started at the club in New York City, the Comedy Cellar in New York City, 25, 30 years ago, when it was only one club and there was nobody in the audience.
Right.
So I was there at the beginning, and now they have 5 clubs and they're selling out 5 shows a night. I mean, it's amazing the shows they put on there and the people that go through there. So when I heard that they were doing a show in Vegas, I had already lived here. I was living in LA at the time, and I called up the owner, Noam, and I said, hey, do you need somebody?
Right.
And they know me and trusted me, and they think I'm funny, and so it worked out.
That's
Luckily,
awesome.
it worked out for both of us.
Super cool.
And they're very worried. they're worried about the name of the seller. The seller's a great name, and that was one of their main concerns, is not tarnishing the name, and I think we've done that here. It's a good club. It really is.
Can you describe how comedians can find security in their career? A lot of times, a lot of comedians think that it's a lot of freelance work. You have to have the manager. You have to be on tours. You have to get accepted by these clubs. But you seem to have great security right now.
I do right now, but it's a completely different
You're
world.
fired, Mark.
What the heck? Wait, am I getting paid?
Right.
It's a completely different world, though, because now you hear people talking in the green room.
Right.
They don't talk about jokes like we used to talk. Hey, is this funny? Then they go, hey, if I turn my head to the left, I'm going to pick up 50,000 viewers or followers, you know? So it's really not about the
Sure.
You know, it is about the jokes, too, but they really are into the business, the younger comedians.
You grew up, obviously, you know, the 80s. I would imagine a lot of iconic figures back then, I would argue more than now, or some of the people that you say to yourself, this is why I wanted to do comedy. I admired this person or that person.
Well, there was less I mean, literally, there was no comedians back then, kind of. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You knew all the comedians. And even when I started, there
weren't a lot.
There wasn't a lot.
Not like now.
You know, there was a lot of comedians when I started, but not a lot of good ones. Not you know, everybody was a comedian when I started, because, like I said, it was the comedy boom of the 80s.
Right.
But it's
because I think of like George Carlin, Eddie Murphy, right?
Yeah.
Today, even Chris Rock, he's been around for a long time. You know, these
people get turned on quicker now.
That's
true. I don't know what these people. I mean, George. I saw George. He would come to the clubs, and Rodney would come to the clubs in New York. And
I know Harry Basil. He's got a lot of Rodney Dangerfield stories.
Yeah.
What do you make of guys that will say, or people that will say that if you're a stand-up comic, most of these comics are demented in the head. Some of them have they all pretty much have issues. Is that true, or is that a fallacy?
I'm going to kill you.
Oh my gosh!
For saying that.
I'm not a therapist. We could have a therapy session. We could have a therapy session, Mark.
I don't think I actually.
Mark, I believed you.
I know you got scared.
I'm over here typing. I'm like, whoa.
I turned it to Clint Eastwood.
Turned it to me when I argue with the MAGA. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I think everybody. You know, my theory is everybody is messed up. Kind of, you know what I mean? I don't think comedians are more messed up than others.
That's like a fallacy, right?
I mean, I guess, you know, yeah, I don't think so. I mean, you know.
You ever meet Sam Kinison?
I did. I met Sam before. I guess I can tell the story. I met Sam before I did comedy.
Really?
I went up to his house. I mean, I was kind of skirting around it, but my friend knew him, and we went up to his house, and we drank, and we were smoking all day, you know. And he's like, "You want to come to the club that night?" And I was like, "Sure." You know?
How do you get to go to Sam Kinison's home?
I was friends with a friend of his, and he was
incredible.
a very nice guy, and we were drinking.
And you knew who he was. He was already a pretty prominent guy.
He was with his two wives. Or, I think his
two wives.
He had two girlfriends or he was going out with. And he goes, "Yeah, I want to come to the." This is my favorite one. He goes, "You want to come to the club?" And I go, "Yeah, sure." So he comes out, and like I said, we've been drinking all day. And he comes out, "Hey, everybody, I've been sober for 6 months today." And I'm like, "What? This is show business."
It's sad what happened to him, but that guy was one of a kind, right? And I think of Rodney. You mentioned
he was a great guy. I mean, like I said, I didn't know him.
I interviewed some members of his family that live here in Las Vegas. They came in studio, and I had a chance to speak with them. Rodney Dangerfield, you mentioned him, another guy that had a difficult life.
Well, he didn't even start stand-up till he was like 53, I believe, or something like that.
And one of the most iconic comics of all time.
Yeah.
Who would you say? That's a tough question.
It is. I'll tell you the truth. I mean, I am an older guy now, and it really is amazing because there doesn't seem to be, you know, comedy hasn't been around that long in a lot of ways.
Right.
Comedians used to be older, Milton Berle and blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
So I thought with all the young comedians that we would kind of get X'd out. But it doesn't really work that way. If you're funny even when you're older, you know. We got sometimes, you know, we got great comedians that are older.
But the old saying, right, Mark, is that you have to get that break somewhere. Somebody, no matter how much talent you have, you could be a musician, you could be a comedian, you could be an actor. You have to have that one person that probably pushed you over the edge. Do you feel like you ever had that one person that really gave you that jump start or helped you, or you think it was, for you, it was just doing it all on my own?
I mean, I did it on my own, I like to think, but my friend Sarah Silverman's helped me out.
That's right, you're friends with her. I saw that.
But at the same time, if you asked her, she would probably say that I helped her out too. You know what I mean? She's become more successful than me, but at some point, I was more successful than her.
I love Sarah. I asked her out on a date live on the radio, which was inappropriate when I was doing. And
you did for real?
And the way, I have the audio of it, and the way she answered it was very, very funny too.
What'd she say?
She said, "I totally would go out with you, Shapiro, but I have a boyfriend right now." I said, "Damn it!" Just like every other girl I talked to. No, but isn't she great? Like
she's great.
She's
a great
awesome.
person too.
She is so awesome, and I've seen her do stand up plenty of times. I saw her at the Palms before. She does my show whenever I ask. And,
good.
And she is so cool and so funny,
Yeah,
and a
she's on
different
the road
brand,
now.
a different brand of humor.
Yeah, I
And
mean,
she
I
has her
saw
own
her,
brand.
like I said, when I started, I had been doing it
Yeah.
a little longer than her, so I take her out on the road, and she would, have trouble.
Was that when she
But
was with Jimmy Kimmel? Or
When I went out? No, that was afterwards.
did you date her really?
I mean, years and years and years.
Ooh, about to say, speaking, Mark, tell us the truth. Brian, you
I can make
made
this.
it. Brian,
I can make this. Hold on a second. I can make this interview very inappropriate. I'm not going to do that. But
Are you asking me on a date?
Mark Cohen dated Sarah
what's
Silverman.
going on?
I am so
How do you
jealous.
threaten him and then now we're going on a date with him? I'm so confused.
No, but I'm jealous. Sarah Silverman is a beautiful. There's a beautiful
If it
woman.
makes you feel any better, she was 19 at the time. Too.
That makes me feel more jealous. No, I'm just kidding.
Wait, how old are you?
I'm 78.
How old were you when she was?
What do you?
I'm like 10 years older
What do
than
you,
her.
Mark? What do you make of a guy like Louis C.K.?
I love Louis. I mean,
who's whipping it out and masturbating
Well,
in front of
people
women.
don't know. I don't know if you can, the way the cameras are set up, but he has no pants on right now.
That's true, actually. But you still won't see anything.
I started with Louis, and I started with David Tell and Sarah and Kevin Brennan, and
You've worked with all these guys.
oh, that's the guys. That was my
Louis,
class.
you know Louis C.K. really well. You worked with him.
I mean, I haven't seen him in a few years.
Brilliant,
but I did know him.
brilliant comedian.
I'm in his first couple movies,
Yeah.
as a matter of fact, his little short movies that he did.
Do you feel like he was? I don't want to use the term "Me Too." I don't think what he did was as bad as people made it out to be.
I don't know. I'm not.
Yeah.
I wasn't. I mean, his problem was he didn't think about it. Kind of.
Right.
I mean, well,
Right.
Came out. He just instantly apologized, which is nice. But at the same time, you got to go. Hey.
I mean, I just think that guy's a brilliant comic. You know, I
it's-
loved Lucky Louie. I wish that show wasn't canceled. By the way, I used to
Well,
love
he
that
did-
show on HBO.
He still probably makes it an amazing living.
Oh, sure, of
But
course,
it's so
of course.
funny, but
One-
he did get hurt, though. I'm sure. By it,
Certainly one of my favorites of all. Do you think in this era people are just way too sensitive? Like when I go to a comedy club, I don't mind being offended. Okay. Now I do think
yes.
what Kramer did was, using the N-word. That was awful, and that's a line you shouldn't cross,
You
right?
think that's awful?
As the black man in this room, yes.
No, but you know what the funny thing is? When he did it, and I don't really, I worked with him a couple times just on stage.
Weird guy, or
I mean, I don't know him enough to say that.
Yeah.
But when it happened, just the way he worked, I said to myself, this guy just did a bad joke.
Horrible.
Went and said something he shouldn't have.
Went the wrong direction.
But he was trying to be funny, but it was weird because, again, the same thing. The next day he came out and he said, hey, I apologize. I'm a racist. You know what I mean?
he went on
It
David
wasn't
Letterman
like
with
I-
Jerry Seinfeld and apologized.
But it was
Yeah.
so it wasn't like I thought.
Right,
you know?
Mark, I think one thing that I really do appreciate about comedians is they try to test the waters. I believe that we should also understand the space that you guys are in, the space that we're entering in when we're in these different shows, because you shouldn't get immediately offended because you're trying to see what's funny, what's going to land, and what's not.
The problem is that it's words now. It's
Right.
not bits. Like if I say abortion, people are going to get mad, even
Right.
if you're on this
Right.
whatever.
Even if you don't get the full sentence out, people are already
can't even say-
defensive.
But if you made
And
a
that
joke,
makes sense.
but if you made a joke and you said like, "I wish Marjorie Taylor Greene was aborted," I mean, I don't think many people would be upset. About that. I don't know.
With that being said, too, though, how does the current climate of our society make you tailor your shows? Do you feel as though that you have to be on guard a little bit about how you deliver something, or
a little bit? It's like weird. Like there's so many shootings now too.
Yeah, it's bad.
Like people don't even know about them like that day, so they'll do a joke without realizing something just happened.
Well, look at what happened to Dave Chappelle. He was attacked with a guy with a knife.
Right.
I mean, as a comic, that's got to scare you a little bit, no?
Right.
Yeah.
It's
but
terrible.
it's weird because they do check for. There's a metal detector at the club.
Right. It's terrible. But a guy like, going back to Kramer quickly here, here's a guy that his total
Wait,
career.
but you guys thought he was wrong?
No, it was great. No, but look at him. His career he doesn't do any stand up. He hasn't done anything in how long? I know he did a little bit on Curb Your Enthusiasm, but okay, listen.
It'd be weird for him, I would imagine.
The guy made a horrible mistake. I don't know if he's a racist or not, but he made a terrible mistake. There's a guy that I think, okay, the guy's apologized. He was remorseful. Let's move on.
It's weird because I guess he could have lied too, because people like me would, if he had said, "Hey, listen, I'm an improv actor,"
right?
I thought they would think it was funny.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? But
do you ever? I'm wondering, Mark. Do you ever before you get on stage, say to yourself, "Okay, I just feel like doing 10 or 15 minutes of improv today with this wacky crowd." Like if you have a different crowd that's just I don't know, just different.
Well, I am in a bit of a different. I've always been improvisational as a comedian.
Right.
I do have jokes, and I
of course.
Yep. But now that I'm here every night, we have people come to the show every week. The same people. So I kind of do a lot of crowd work and talking to people more than I would or should probably.
What's the weirdest thing that somebody said to you after a show that you met that you can recall? Like
Put
the
your
weirdest
clothes on and get out, ladies and gentlemen.
So what?
But I would imagine you meet a lot of. I would imagine you meet a lot of different people and tourists and locals. And
You know, it's so funny. I mean, I used to, but now it's like I just go home. You know what I mean? It's like I'm not trying.
I hear
to,
you, but like a guy like Jimmy J.J. Walker, I've interviewed him many a times. He hates it when people go up to him and say dynamite, right?
sure.
But yet,
At the same time,
I think you know where I'm going with this. After the show, he sells his posters and his photos that say dynamite.
Right.
Yeah, I don't
but
think
he won't do it for free. I mean,
Right. And also, too, people don't want to be bothered by something they don't know all the time.
Yeah. Hey,
I want to take a step back, Mark, because Brian made a good point.
I made a good point.
What are you
really?
talking about?
Brian made a good point. He
What
sure
show
did.
are you on?
I like to boost my fellow co-host Brian.
I made a good point.
So what I can agree with is that this climate that we're in, people are so sensitive, and some of them have the right to be sensitive. Other people, they just want to be sensitive just to be sensitive. But with that being said, what are some of the unspoken rules of things not to do as a comedian that we just don't know about?
Well, people are sensitive for other people now. Like you, if I did a black joke or whatever, you might not get offended, but Karen would go, "Hey, you can't do that joke." So it's.
I was just gonna say, don't show your penis. That's probably rule number one.
That's kind of
Yeah.
it's not a sex club, Brian.
That's rule number one.
But going
unless you're Mark Cohen, then you can do it.
I actually still don't want to see it, Mark. Give me your pants.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I interrupted.
You know, I don't think anything's offensive or off limits.
So there's no unspoken rules for comedians.
I don't think so.
Okay.
But in Vegas, it's more of a cross country. Like people come from New York to Vegas, and if they try, you have to be a little different. You have to approach it different because people are more uptight, I guess.
I feel that.
I don't know. I'm going to get in trouble. But
I'm not really one to talk, but I hosted a comedy night at a place called The Beach on Paradise that no longer exists, and they asked me to host. I hosted it for a few weeks. I did about 5 or 10 minutes of just making fun of people, and I made a couple jokes to a couple black members and their
What'd you say,
girlfriends.
black members like
members,
that? Black members.
Oh, listen.
You've already felt that, right? I'm offended.
I did think of something different.
I know,
I'm
but
offended,
I made a couple jokes, okay? A couple jokes that I won't say on the air, but, you know, listen, something
Wait,
that...
I want to hear it now. Say
Okay,
it.
I said back up a few feet, your genitalia is leaning up against the stage, stuff like that.
Wait, and they were offended? That's actually kind of
They
funny.
were waiting for me. Well, I said a couple jokes that I'm not going to say on the air, but nothing like Kramer stuff, nothing like that.
Did you call me
they
the
were
N-word,
waiting
Brian?
for no, God. They were waiting for me after the show.
Really?
Calling me cracker. Yeah. I said I don't think I want to make $100 a week to do this anymore. Yeah. So that was the end of Michael.
It's also, I'm not saying I wasn't there, but somebody else could have said the exact same thing that you said, and they would.
It would have been fine.
It would have been fine.
That's racist.
Well, I didn't say. It could have been another white guy.
No, but you're right. It depends on who does it.
I can get away with a lot more.
Right.
Than other people.
Now, Mark, we have a few more minutes left, and I want you to actually tell the audience who's listening in currently, what is your brand of comedy? Can you explain to us what it looks like, how it feels, what they're going to expect when it comes to your shows?
Sweaty.
Oh,
I'm
this is
like
a
it.
sex club. Let's go back to that. Mark, are you trying to
Jewish
sex
sex
with
club. Hey, I work for tips.
what kind of tips?
Off my penis.
Just the tip.
What was the question?
The question is, how would you describe your brand of comedy?
All right.
Silly, fun, and really, I am the host of the show. I mean, it's so funny because I've been a comedian for a long time, but people always come up, "You're great. You should be a comedian," because I'm the host, so they don't look at me.
So you're introducing all the other comics. You do 10, 15 minutes. You introduce the next
and
comic.
I really am catering to the show. I mean,
course.
it's so funny because
love that.
up front, I can do whatever I want
Yeah.
at time. And if the audience is good, I'll do less time because they're good already.
I got some bad news for you, though.
Uh-oh.
I'm going to catch your show this weekend.
Oh, boy.
I
It's a
wanna
good
go.
show.
Yeah,
Come
yeah,
by,
I
please.
am.
Anytime.
So I want to give out the information. Comedy Cellar, 2 shows nightly, 7 and 9:30 at the Comedy Cellar at the Rio.
At the
By the way, the
Rio.
steakhouse up there is phenomenal.
I've never been.
Yeah,
I want to go.
It's really good up there. They don't comp you. Come on.
Oh.
Yeah, upstairs.
it's like I didn't.
Yeah, the one
Wait,
way
what are you
upstairs.
pointing to, heaven?
Yeah. No, they got some really good restaurants there. I used to go there every year for the World Series of Poker, but they don't have it there anymore. They
Yeah.
have it at Bally's in Paris now, right?
I lived in the Sahara Hotel for 2 years.
Really?
You lived there for 2
lived
years?
there?
The suite.
But why did you live there?
Because I was doing that Rat Pack show.
Oh, that's right.
It was like real show business.
Was that when it was the Sahara? Yeah, because they changed the name a couple times.
Yeah.
Did you have to pay rent?
No,
No?
I did it in my house in L.A.
Look at that! Look at that! I should be a comic.
Right? I want to get a free comp suite.
It was
Listen, the suite that you had for your birthday party, that was awesome. I would live in that.
It was sweet.
I didn't know Mark back then. Otherwise, I would have invited
Thanks.
him. Mark, I appreciate it, though. Thank you
Yes,
so
thank
much.
you.
It was
I
nice to
can't
meet
wait
you.
to see your show. I'm going to check it out
Yeah,
this
come by,
weekend.
for
The
sure.
Comedy Cellar, Mark Cohen, very funny man. I appreciate that and having a good time with us. 7 and 9:30, 2 shows nightly at the Comedy Cellar at the Rio. Especially this day and age, we need to laugh a little bit more.
They are great shows.
Yes.
I'm not even.
Great
it really is
comics,
great
yes,
shows.
no question about it. And Mark, you're one of them. I appreciate you being here.
You should be a comic.
Thank you for putting up with us. I appreciate
Yes.
that. And
We needed this release after our last
I
segment.
know. I heard you yelling when I was waiting.
quit. Yeah, I do.
That
By the
was
way,
him, not me.
there's going to be more yelling tomorrow as we go. A lady who wrote a book about George Soros, now George Soros is ruining the country, is going to be joining us on the air tomorrow. Yeah, I'm sure that'll be fun. So thanks for joining us, everybody.
I need a
Appreciate it.
therapist.
We will see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Have a great Tuesday.
Bye, guys.